Timesplitters is a sort of all-in-one, like Swiss Army knife multiplayer first-person shooter. It attempts to overwhelm you with modes, characters, and other features. Future Perfect is different from the last two games because it's actually online on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox, which is great because, I mean, let's face it, split-screen gaming is totally played out. It's got bots you can use to play the multiplayer modes all by yourself, but the game's really at its best when you're playing a full-on 16-player game with other people. But it also has a lot of single-player challenges, including a short story mode that's actually one of the best parts of the whole package. Future Perfect is fun, but to be honest, the game feels a little bit dated. The multiplayer modes might fill out a long list, but really it's just slightly different takes on deathmatch with some team-based modes and capture the flag. Make that capture the bag thrown in too. The most fun I had playing Timesplitters was either in regular old deathmatch against other players or the offline story mode. The story mode is unlike the other Timesplitters games because it actually tells a story. You play as a military man named Cortez, and the game opens with Cortez returning from a mission to get a bunch of crystals to power a time machine. Then you're sent off leaping through time in order to stop the evil creatures known as Timesplitters before they can start a huge war that devastates humanity. The story is played up for laughs with a lot of really great spots where Cortez runs into his future self. These moments are funny and interesting because you'll eventually see each of these sequences played out from multiple sides. The moments where you run into other versions of Cortez are really the most memorable points of the game, which in a way is too bad because the story mode is over in 6 hours. This is really a multiplayer-focused game, and though it has a billion different things to do, none of them feel all that fleshed out. But I think the most fun I had in multiplayer was setting up a gun that lets you shoot through walls and then kind of picking off people from across the level. They kept getting on the headset and talking about how I must be invisible or something. Suckers. The game's out and online on PlayStation 2 and Xbox, and the two versions of the game are pretty similar. The Xbox version looks sharper, but the PlayStation version doesn't lag too far behind. Also, from a purely competitive standpoint, the PlayStation 2 version fares a bit better due to simple lack of competition. The Xbox is a much tougher platform for first-person shooters than the PS2 is. I mean, the Xbox has Halo 2, PlayStation 2 has, well, Killzone, which isn't so hot. Project Snowblind's good, though. See what I mean? There's a lot to like about Timesplitters. It's a great game with a lot of charm, but at the same time, it makes its great grade by simply piling in a trillion different modes and letting you configure to your heart's content. If that's your style, you're going to love Timesplitters, even if it's essentially not that much different than shooters that came out back on the N64. I mean, you can't even jump, and you don't hear any footsteps when you run around. These sorts of omissions, along with a real lack of cohesion, means that some players aren't going to be able to warm up to Timesplitters' core shooting mechanics.